And we are live. Happy Friday, everyone. My name is Lucy Gray, and I'm one of the co-founders of Actionable Innovations Global. And this is our once in a while conversation with educational leaders. And I'm really excited about today's conversation because we're going to be talking about the ISTE conference, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. Actionable Innovations Global is a professional learning community for educators, entrepreneurs, students, whomever wants to join our group. And we are really interested in being an inclusive professional learning community made up of global educators. We support and inspire education leaders. We host these conversations and try to connect people. This is really meant to be a networking event. So please feel free to share your information in the chat so that we all get to know each other today. We also write about global education innovations. And my friend Don Buckley, who's not here with us right now, he's been writing up a storm about how he's kind of rethinking his teaching in our Medium publication. And he's going to be adding his post soon. So stay tuned for that. And we also advise, advocate, and consult on global education topics. You might have known us before as the Global Education Conference Network. We've rebranded. We used to host Global Education Day at ISTE. Now we're calling that the Global Collaborator Meet Up. So that's a little bit about who we are and what we do. You can find us on social media, and we're always posting resources. We have a Wakelet space full of resources and all sorts of fun things. If you go to Linktree/Actionable you'll find all the goodies that we make available to people. So that's how you can find our information. We also are really excited to say that we're doing our first, it's not a free conference this time. We're doing our first event, a day-long event on AI and education. It's a summit with the various speakers that you see here on June 13th. So if you're interested in kind of digging into AI at whatever level you're ready for, we're going to have something for you. A morning full of workshops or of general sessions, an afternoon of workshops, and recordings available for people who want to go back and look at that sort of thing. So that's coming up. But more exciting is the ISTE conference. And I just want to remind you today that we'd love for you to introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know that you're here, because we don't always know if you're here if you don't say anything. You can add your Twitter handle so we can follow you, or your LinkedIn profile, whatever you want to do. We'd love for you to let us know that you're here. And then if you feel like tweeting out any pithy comments from our speakers today, you can do that on Twitter using Actionable Inno as your hashtag. So today we have a trio of lovely ladies with us. We have Kayla Holland, Greta Sandler, and Alefiya Master. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves and tell us. I'm going to start with the one to watch, Greta Sandler. So Greta, tell us why we should be watching you. And you're muted, I think.
Yes, sorry about that. Hi, everyone. I'm here in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I work at Belgrano Day School. It's a bilingual school here in the city of Buenos Aires. I'm a learning innovation leader and also a fifth grade teacher. And I'm also an ISTE community leader. I love being part of this amazing community.
And she just got the award from ISTE as one of the 20 to watch. So that's a big, huge deal. And we're so excited for you, Greta. So
thank you.
Virtual clap for you. And we have Dr. Kayla Holland with us too, who's also an ISTE community leader. Hi, Kayla. Do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Hi, Lucy. Thanks so much for having me today. Yes, my name is Kayla Holland. I'm the Director of Instructional Technology and Blended Learning for Break Free Education. We're a small nonprofit that works to empower and improve education inside juvenile justice facilities across the U.S. So thanks so much for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
And we did a previous interview with Kayla about Break Free, and it's awesome. And you need to go back and it's in our recordings on our YouTube channel, and you need to go learn more about her organization because they do incredible work. So plug for that. And we also have Alefiya. And Alefiya, am I saying your name correctly? Because Julie and I go back and forth on this.
You absolutely are. You are saying it perfectly. So I appreciate it. It's so good to be here, Lucy, and good afternoon, everybody, or good morning. My name is Alefiya Master. I am a teacher turned entrepreneur. I used to be a Montessori teacher for many years, loved teaching my little babies. They still hug you and think you're awesome when they're young. I, about 9 years ago, decided to work on starting a company. And today we get the benefit and the honor of working with almost 50,000 students all over the country with our program MadLearn. So we're empowering kids to use this little device and the addiction that they have to their phones to get interested in computer science, make an app.
Awesome. That's great. And you have something special that you're going to announce at ISTE at our event, and we'll talk about that in a little while. But I'm really excited. I'm really excited to learn more about that and more today. So we have lots of people that are checking in. I'm seeing people who are coming. I see people who are coming to ISTE. I know Rhett Oldham is coming to ISTE, so I'm glad to see Rhett's here. And there's Pablo, who we've interviewed before, and some other people. Welcome, everybody. We're so excited to see you here in the chat. ISTE, there will be some virtual opportunities too. I want to make sure that we're going to talk a lot about that, about how to participate if you're not going to be there, and how you can take advantage of some of the resources that are going to be shared and that sort of thing. So if you're not going to be at ISTE, don't be sad, because you can still get involved and grow your PLN virtually. So I'm going to start off with, I'm going to go back to Greta. And Greta, I'm going to get rid of my slides here. And so we can actually really talk and see each other. So let's start out with ISTE. How long have you been involved with ISTE? And what is it to be a community leader in ISTE, Greta?
Okay, I was able to join ISTE, like the conference, for the first time in 2020, I think, when it was virtual. Actually going there being able to attend in person had been like my dream for many, many years. I was able to finally attend in person last year. I became a community leader 2 years ago.
What does that mean? What does it mean to be an ISTE community leader? Is that something like being a 20 to watch person?
No, it's a way of serving. We do volunteer work to empower other educators, in this case ISTE members, but we also do events for non-members. We try to help them make the most of their membership, but also find ways for them to connect and empower. And it also helps us. It's like we give, but we also get so much back. It's my favorite community. I cannot lie.
That's amazing. That sounds great. And Kayla, how long have you been involved with ISTE, and what's your experience been like as a community leader?
Yeah, I think my first in-person ISTE event, I think it was in 2016. So I've been around for a while, but I think my first experience was very much like just show up. I didn't know anyone. I wasn't connected in any way. I just survived it in a way. So yeah, I was trying to remember when that was. I think it was 2016. But Greta's right about being an ISTE community leader. That's actually how Greta and I met. Through our community leader program. It is a great way to volunteer your time for the program of ISTE, and we get to connect with people who are really passionate about the same things. Like Greta and I are passionate about global education, and so that's how we've connected to kind of put this playground together for ISTE. But I'm also connected with other community leaders at ISTE. We have an ed tech coach meetup that happens once a month. We're really trying to get that off the ground. So it's really just a way to, meet other people who are passionate about what you're doing, and you get to put good stuff out there for not just ISTE members. We're also doing things for non-ISTE members as well, but primarily for ISTE members. And there's a lot of us. I think there's 100, but this is my second year as a community leader. But the year before that, I served on the Global Collaboration Network. It was a specific PLN within ISTE back when they had PLNs for every kind of topic of interest.
And they still have the subtopic in the ISTE Connect community where people can ask for help or look for partners and that sort of thing too. So if somebody wants to throw the link into the chat, if you guys know of the ISTE Connect link to that area, that would be great too. We'll throw that into the resources. Because I find that to be pretty useful too. And I think there's a lot of people that are on the ISTE community site, but don't necessarily know that there's posts and things that they can go through. And there's also one section that's just devoted to the conference as well. So if you're prepping to go to ISTE, you might want to take a look at that. And I highly recommend people prep a little bit beforehand too. Like I used to have kind of a theme in mind when I went. Like I was going to really focus on one particular thing and find sessions on that theme and kind of. So have a strategy. That's one tip that we'll offer to you guys is have a strategy before you go, because it's really big and overwhelming, especially the Philadelphia Conference Center is gigantic. Bring your walking shoes, but we'll get to some more tips in a minute. So Alefiya, how did you get involved with ISTE?
So my first ISTE was actually, I think 10 or 11 years ago, Atlanta ISTE, whenever it was around 2010, I think. And it was in Atlanta. I had just thought of this idea for a business and literally talked to schools and showed them screenshots on my iPad and said, hey, do you want an app for your school? Because the first idea was, hey, let's build apps for schools and help them go mobile, essentially. Transformed into let's have the students create the apps instead, because clearly we as adults don't know anything. Let's empower the students to do this. But that was my first ISTE in 2010. And I still remember walking around in heels because I knew nothing about ISTE. Do not wear heels. Please wear your sneakers. And I had, these are our business cards. They're little phone-shaped business cards. And I had these and I was putting them in different places. They weren't business cards. They said something like, get an app for your school. And we did this whole Twitter thing saying, take a picture of this phone if you find it, and you might be entered to win a free app for your school and all kinds of stuff. I knew nothing about ISTE. I knew nobody there. I was trying to make friends. But it was over 10 years ago. And my gosh, we've been to pretty much every ISTE since then, virtually or in person. And it's fun to see friends. It's fun to get to share hugs and to see friends and have it be a place of community.
And absolutely. And I think last year, I especially felt that after coming back from the pandemic, and even though we all ended up with COVID and we had like a COVID Facebook group from ISTE where we shared our favorite movies and that sort of thing, so we could keep each other company. Anyway, I have you guys beat because I'm old. But I think my first one was San Antonio, and it was still called NEC. And I was pregnant with my son, and I knew no one. And so I would go to, so he was born in October, this is June. So you can imagine how big I was. I wasn't terribly big, but I remember going and hearing Gary Steger speak, and Gary being kind of critical of ISTE and going, oh my gosh. So if Gary's listening, I remember that vividly. And I didn't know anybody. I didn't have this personal or professional learning network. And so I would, go to every single session and get all of these materials. And I was so excited about stuff. I'd go back to my room. I'd go eat by myself somewhere. And then I'd go back to my room and play with whatever I learned that day. And so I didn't, I found it really valuable, but I didn't have that professional learning network yet. And I think what changed my life is when they started doing Steve Harganon and others started doing EduBloggerCon at ISTE. And when people were this is even like pre-Twitter, people were starting to blog. And I think I was talking to Don Buckley earlier today about why we all got into ed tech. And I think we really got into ed tech because we believed in changing education. We found it to be a vehicle for changing education. It's not the tech itself that's been so exciting to us. It's been, what it can do in terms of changing the game for students. And so EduBloggerCon was all about, it was a meetup on Sunday, or maybe it was Saturday, that, ISTE gave us a space, and lots of educators, lots of the thought leaders that we associate with ed tech were there. And really kind of the first ed conference-y kinds of stuff were going on then. And everybody was blogging and sharing their ideas. And this professional generosity was really pushing pushing things. And so now I feel like that's kind of shifted. EduBloggerCon kind of died out. Other things have taken its place on the weekend of ISTE starting. So I kind of missed that a little bit, but it's evolved. So I've been to every single one. I don't think I've missed one since then. So that my son's 20 now. So I've been there 20, I've gone 20 times. I can't believe it's been that long. But anyway, I'm really excited. I'm excited for ISTE because it's evolving in different ways. If people don't know, they merged with ASCD earlier this year, and I think that makes a lot of sense to have the ed tech and the curriculum people together. So I'm really thrilled to see what the next 20 years look like for ISTE. So Greta, I'm going to go back to my questions here. And what's your favorite part, since last year was the year before was your first, last year was your first virtual one, or was last year your first physical one?
Yes.
Okay. So what was your favorite part of it? What did you enjoy the most?
Meeting my colleagues in person for the first time. It helped a lot that I knew many of them through the community leader program and through Twitter and different PLNs. But definitely hanging out with people, the connections are so powerful, and many of the things we are doing now, like, started with ideas at ISTE. And also, if I have to talk about like the conference, not about the people, playgrounds and poster sessions are my favorite space. I feel like you can connect better with presenters and with the audience. I think it's much more, at least for me, I get to learn much more from those spaces than big sessions like conference rooms. And
it's more informal. You can actually ask the practitioners up close and personal. You can see student work up close and personal. Yeah, I agree. And we'll talk a little bit about the one that you guys are doing in a second. Kayla, what's your favorite part of the ISTE conference?
Oh, I completely agree with Greta. It's all about the people and networking and being part of our ISTE Community Leader program. You see people on calls every month, and you see their names, and getting to see them in person is wonderful. But honestly, again, if you take people out of it, right? Because I think that would be everyone's number one answer. I learned so much. It really is my one big conference every year, and I go in at Lucy with like, here's my 3 big things, otherwise I'd be totally overwhelmed because there's like 1,000 presentations plus posters, plus playgrounds, like all of it. So I kind of go in with 3 big things and go to everything I can when I'm not, presenting and coordinating a playground and et cetera, all the things you're doing. And I do it on those big 3 things. And that's really helped kind of focus my experience. So I like doing that a lot, but I meet people. I love networking. The nighttime events, you get to see like vendors in person and things, and that's really cool. I've done a lot of relationship building with vendors over the years who then come and help me in the work that we do, and then just learning.
So how do people find out about, Kayla, about events that are going on outside of ISTE itself, like these nighttime things? What's your tip?
I really follow hashtags on Twitter, and then there's also a Facebook group that is for people going to ISTE, and it's different things. The big vendors are going to do appreciation events at night and things like that, and that's a great way for me to network with the vendors themselves because they're very busy during the day in the expo hall. But it's also a great way to meet new people. I think, like, I signed up yesterday for a board game event that people are running. You just show up, and as an introvert, sometimes I'm totally overwhelmed during the day and I just need to chill out at night and like recharge my introverted batteries. But yeah, that's what I think, really just following those hashtags, looking for that ISTE 23 group on Facebook.
I saw that group, and the board game thing sounds like a lot of fun. There are also a lot of pre-conference things, like my friend Greta is leading a couple of photo walks, which I think are sold out. So if you're not going to Rita's thing, come to our thing on Sunday morning. It is about the same time, because we've got room for you.
I think there's a history tour as well, like a walking tour on Sunday.
Yeah, there's so much to do, so many things to choose from. So Alefiya, you're hosting one of these evening events, and it's sold out already, right?
We are. So there's a wait list. So please put your name on the wait list because you actually have to come to the tech booth. Mathlearn does not have a booth at ISTE. We're not that cool. But come to the tech booth. We're doing this co-sponsored event with several other companies to get to pick up your badge. So hopefully we can see you there. But Eric Kurtz has also put together, I think he does this every year, but sort of a crowdsourced document that has a bunch of really good information. I put that link in the chat as well. It's got everything you can think of. So our event is on there, but a lot of other events. Of course, there's a lot of things happening socially in the evenings as well. But Lucy, your question around what is my favorite thing at ISTE? Honestly, I was racking my head trying to think about the one thing. And I think all of my answers come to the same thing. The reason I like to go to ISTE, the reason I want to continue to go to ISTE every year is the energy. It's the energy, and it's a combination of the people and the sessions and the events and all of that, but really it's just the energy of remembering why we do what we do, getting that inspiration, getting that sort of refilling your tank, even though I'm definitely on the introverted scale too. I need to decompress at the end of the day, but just really filling your tank and helping you prepare for the upcoming school year and reminding me of my why. Really looking at, students that are presenting, teachers that are presenting, admin across the board, of course, meeting friends and sharing hugs, which is, as everyone who knows me, I'm a hugger. So that was a problem at ISTE last year, but really the energy of the space and the people that is created is what's so powerful for me. So that's got to be my favorite.
I'm not sure what my favorite part is. I guess I usually like what I used to love was we would have Global Education Day like in the afternoon from like 2 to 5. And then the keynote would happen like at 6, which was perfect. So everybody got a little bit of a break and go to the keynote. And then after the keynote was this global playground. It wasn't a global playground. It was, I don't know what it was called, but it was like this opening student project global area with food and drink, and you would go around and talk to the people from Iron or talk to the people from so-and-so, and you would also see student projects. So I really liked that, and it was kind of the perfect segue for people who were interested in global collaboration. That's no longer, it's something different now, I think, and also because of COVID, trying to space things out, I think ideally it wasn't necessarily a great COVID kind of activity. But I used to love that because I felt like it was a good opening to the rest of the conference. And I usually love the keynotes too. I'm really, and every year I propose my keynotes that I want to see, and they're getting closer to picking the people I want. But one of them is, I really would love to see the teacher who created, or the actress who created Abbott Elementary. I would love to hear her speak. And I think some other people, some of the other actors from Abbott Elementary are speaking. So that's close enough. I'm excited about that. What I'm hoping for one day is that ISTE will invite in Joseph Gordon-Levitt, the actor who has Hit Record. It's a global community for collaboration on artistic works. And because I think he's ultimately, he's what we've been, for the last 20 years of my life, we've been talking about preparing kids for their future. And he's like the ultimate entrepreneurial person, young person who's now grown up. And then the two other that I would love to see at ISTE, if anybody's listening, is John and Hank Green, who John Green wrote Fault in Our Stars. Hank Green started VidCon, and they both have blogged together and started YouTube channels like Crash Course and SciShow and all that. And Hank was recently diagnosed with cancer. So we're sending him the best. But again, those two young men, or they're younger than I am. I don't know how young they are, but they're what we've been trying to grow as students for the last 20 years. And so those people, the future is here. And how do we get more of that entrepreneurial spirit so that our students are ready for whatever comes their way? So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. Next question for you guys. How do you suggest first-time attendees approach the conference? And whoever wants to take this first, go for it.
Okay, I'll go first. I think, well, I've heard some really great ideas. We kicked off a boot camp to help people get ready for ISTELive. Yesterday, we had a wonderful panel conversation where they all shared amazing advice, but not just for newbies, but also for, we call them veterans. And we will be sharing challenges every week, social, physical, and mental challenges, to help people start connecting before the conversation. This year, ISTE is offering an ISTE Connect space for ISTELive attendees. So once you sign up for the conference, you have that space. So you can start building relationships, which I think is key, right away. And if you admire someone's work, connect with that person before, find out where that person will be. We were having a conversation with Stephanie Howell in my summer, your winter, and I was telling her like how I wish I'd known that you had to sign up for some sessions before attending. When I got there, I realized I had no space for a session I really wanted to attend. So all those kind of things, you need to walk a lot, you need to bring good shoes, socials, how to find those events. All those things were going to help people get ready for that. I see Kayla has shared the link. It's free and open for members and non-members. So I think it's going to be great to start, building community beforehand and make the most of the experience later on.
Good advice. Alefiya, how about you? What's your pro tip?
So my pro tip is to think of the magic number 7. There's a billion things happening at any given moment at ISTE, and there's no way to do it all. Even if you look through the session schedule and guide and try to favorite the things that you want, you will find 5 things at the same time every single time that you want to go to. And you can't do it all. And running from one place to a next is actually losing out on a lot of the point of the conference, which is to, yes, learn things, but meet people and have conversations in the hallway randomly. So think magic number 7. Put 7 things on your calendar each day that you want to do. And that includes morning breakfast, lunch, evening, whatever you're doing. You can't do more than 7 really good things in the day. So don't plan for more. And 7 is also a lot, but it's ISTE, so we're trying to push it. So stick to 7, pick 7 things, no more than 7 that you want to do every single day, and plan out your day ahead of time. And also be okay with that plan going up in smoke because something else happened that was, on the spur of the moment, and you decided to take that and run with it. So have a plan, but be open to changing that based on who you meet and what happens at the conference.
Yeah, flexibility is key. Absolutely. Kayla, what are your pro tips for most of the experience?
Well, I'm an avid scheduler, so the 7 things is such a great idea. So I am a similar mindset, right? I talked about like having 3 big things, because if you look at the ISTE schedule, oh my gosh, you could be so overwhelmed. So what I do is similar to that. And I didn't know about the 7 things, so I am going to maybe incorporate that this time. But I take the pockets of time I have available and look at the sessions that I might want to attend, right? And I prioritize them. Like, this is definitely one I want to go to. And I use my digital calendar for that, because honestly, in the moment, all I have is my phone. And it's like, okay, I have the next hour. Where do I want to go? So ISTE does a good job at putting together curated schedules, right? So if you're really interested in virtual reality, they have a list of sessions and things for you to attend based off that topic. So I highly recommend those. So I'll take my 3 things and look at the curated presentations ISTE's already kind of put together for me, because the schedule is overwhelming. And I'll decide, like, this is a definite, I'll, mark it in my calendar with a special color. And then like, these are maybe. So if you look at my calendar for the couple of days of ISTE, it's completely wild. There's all kinds of things. But then when I'm there in the moment, it's really based off like, what am I closest to, right? Like I have the next hour. Here are the 4 sessions in this 1 hour that I really wanted to try to make it to. Which one am I close to? Because I remember my first ISTE, like Greta was sharing, she didn't know you had to pre-register for things. I didn't know they put a cap on the number of people in each room. And so I literally had 1 session per hour that I wanted to go to, and I would book it across the conference center to get to that room, and they would say, sorry, we're at capacity. And then I'm like, well, I have no idea where to go for this next hour, and I would feel like I really lost out. So I also schedule in breaks because my introverted self just needs to sit in a cushy chair somewhere and like feel like I'm catching up on emails and things like that. So I would recommend scheduling, using your digital calendar, color coding if that's your thing, because it's definitely mine, but like definitely scheduling some breaks and take care of yourself, because it can be a really overwhelming day.
And especially, I just feel like the Philadelphia Convention Center seemed really huge to me, really long. And so I think it's really important there. If you're going to Philly too, know that Reading Terminal's across the street and you can get the world's best food right there. That's another favorite thing that I love. I remember the last ISTE that was in Philly, which was 2019, it was before the pandemic. And there was kind of a space theme. Because it was maybe the 50th anniversary of NASA or something like that. So like Microsoft had like a room with space themed activities going on, and so did Apple. And I liked those rooms too, because like with the Apple one, they would hand you an iPad to use. You'd go in and you do all these activities for the time slot that you were allocated, and try out some of the things. And I liked that hands-on piece too. And I liked the thematic part of it. I liked how there seemed to be other places in the conference that were buying into that theme as well, so that you could come away with some resources.
Yeah.
Let's switch to the standards, because that's really what is driving the event that we're doing. And one of the standards is global for students and educators is, and I'll put the ISTE standards in the chat for everybody. It always shocks me when people have not heard of the ISTE standards. And when I went to my last school a couple of years ago, I did a survey of our faculty, and I'd say 80 to 90% of them had not heard of the ISTE standards. And I don't believe in teaching to standards. I believe that they're guidelines, and it serves as guidance for planning and making. And if you're a good teacher, you're usually hitting on most standards, in my opinion. But one of the ones that's in here, the ones that are globally focused, that are in here for students and for educators, that's what I wanted to focus on at our event, was like to bring it to people's attention that this is important. I feel like the idea of developing globally competent adults and students is a little bit lost on people in the US, at least these days. And we need to bring it to the forefront again. So that's my motivation for everything. And I'm wondering, what are your thoughts on the ISTE standards? How do you use them or not use them? Or which ones appeal to you? Any thoughts on the ISTE standards while we're talking about them really briefly?
I can jump in on this one. Not just talking about the global collaboration standards, but at Break Free, we create monthly initiatives for our students who are in the U.S. juvenile justice system, and we align all of those initiatives to ISTE standards. And I like the language of the standards, to be honest, because it's in very kid-friendly language, and you can say, we're working on our knowledge constructor, or our digital citizenship, or our global collaborator. Like, we're working on these things, and it's really easy and helpful for kids to understand this is our objective. But we do that with Break Free Education, where I work, and it's really helpful. So I think, if anything, the standards are helpful for letting kids in on, hey, this is what we're doing, and this is why it's important, because we live in a globally focused world, right? Even though we may not think that as Americans, we're very self-centered in general as a country. But we do live in a very globally focused world, and these kids are going to graduate high school and move forward into a world that's very globally focused. So they need to understand all of these things.
Yeah.
I can just add a little bit of a perspective from a program provider or a product provider perspective, right? And of course, from a teacher perspective, we look at these standards and we think, okay, how can we incorporate activities, lessons, resources to help us meet these standards? And that's critical. But also from a company perspective, how are we building products and services that help inculcate these skills in our students, right? And that's really helpful. And so ISTE's done a really good job with building these. Of course, they're not perfect. No standards are perfect. They're always evolving, and we know that. But it's a really good framework for all of us to be on the same page with regards to what are the things that we think are important for our students to have, our teachers to have, our administrators to have, as a skill set, right? So not so much a standard, but really a skill set and a way of thinking that I think is so important. Our program, for example, MadLearn, is fully aligned to the ISTE student standards, and we pride ourselves on that because we know that there are a strong set of standards and we've built curriculum and resources to meet them. So I think it's, of course, from a teacher lens, but also from a company lens, a very helpful guiding force.
And I think that it's also a way to justify what you're trying to do in your classroom or in your school. And so when you're trying to build the case for this is why global competence is important, you can go to a couple different sources. You can go to the Asia Society's model of global competence. You can look at the PISA's global competence model, which is very similar. And then you can go to the ISTE standards and say this is one vehicle for getting it done. And I think having the message of it back to somebody's why, Alefiya, what's your school's why about why you're using the technology, and global is one piece of it. I think I was kind of sad to see in the ISTE community recently, I think it was a teacher in Colorado who said their school was abandoning their one-to-one laptop program. And I thought, how could you do that in this day and age? And they feel there's people in the district who feel like the kids are having too much technology. That seems to me to be a management problem. And that how could you need a device going forward, no matter who you are, you need a personal device in order to be a 21st century citizen. And so I hope I hope that is not a trend that we're seeing. But I think if you look at the ISTE standards and you thoughtfully apply them and figure out where it makes sense in your curriculum and not have it be the be all and end all of everything, then you can be okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry,
Greta.
no.
Yes.
In my case, the ISTE standards kind of guide my practice and whenever I plan projects for my students. And what I try to do is model everything for the kids, especially the global collaboration part. I always make sure they know how I interact globally with other educators. I usually show them how I learn new things, and if I fail, well, I fail. It doesn't matter. I learn from that. I always try to empower them that way. And global collaboration has a very big role in our school. It's one of our pillars, and we try all the time to connect our students with classes worldwide, to engage them in global projects. I think it's so important to help kids, having real awareness of what's going on, not just in Argentina, but everywhere. They start to develop empathy. It happened once in Argentina. Soccer is like first comes soccer and then comes the rest. And it was a 1998 World Cup, and we had Skyped with a class in France, and right before Argentina playing with France. And the teacher said, okay, we lose, we win, we Skype again. And I was like, no, because I know that kids can get really upset when if we happen to lose. And kids were like, yes. And we lost that game. And the following Monday, when we were at school, the first thing that kids said, we need to Skype with our friends in France. We need to congratulate them. it blew my mind. I think it was harder for me to Skype with them than for the kids. But, you know, all these things, they are kids and they are learning how to interact globally. It opens their mind. They start to celebrate differences, accept these differences. And I think that is super important.
Oh, that is such a great example. I love that, Greta. That's awesome. So let's move into talking about what we're doing at ISTE. And my first suggestion to people is to go to the program and search for the word global. And you're going to find tons of activities and sessions that are related to it. But we're doing two specific things. And Kayla and Greta, do you want to talk a little bit about the playground first, and then we'll talk about the meetup?
Do you want me to go ahead, Kayla?
It doesn't matter. Either one.
Yeah, both. We've been working together for the last month, and it's collaborating with her has been amazing. The global playground started as an idea in ISTE last year with Erin Dowd. We were talking about this, that we needed, you know, to get the global educator community together somehow. The global PLN is not there anymore, so we wanted to do something. And well, that's how the three of us started working. Now Erin is working for ISTE, so it's just Kayla and I behind the scenes. And the idea is to showcase global projects connected to the SDGs, to really empower educators to bring this into the classroom and, you know, make strong impact and help our students really become change makers.
I love that. We're very excited about our global collaboration playground. I think a couple of folks watching are going to be presenters. I know I saw Pablo and Diane both in the comments, so shout out to them. They're going to be some of our presenters, and we're really excited because we have an incredible lineup of people from all over the globe that are going to be there. So if you're at ISTE, we're in Playground A on Wednesday, June 28th from 9 to 11 a.m. You should definitely come by and say hello. If you don't know what the SDGs are, we're going to have a place for you to start so you can learn about the SDGs, and then you can move through the playground. If you don't know what a playground is, it's a 2-hour event based off a specific topic. And I think we counted, like, we have 19 presenters. So it really is the biggest bang for your buck. We've got 6 people on stage presentations, and then we have 2 hours of people rotating through interactive tables. And for our playground, everyone needs to leave with a call to action. So you could come and see 5 people's presentation at tables, and you've got 5 things you're leaving with to do. So yeah, I see Diane and Pablo both there. But the one thing we're really excited about is that we're not just going to be in person for our global collaboration playground. We really emphasize that we are a global group of educators, and so we wanted to champion that. So even if you're not coming to ISTE, you can still participate with us by submitting a virtual pre-recorded session, and we'll throw the link for you in the chat. So our idea, as you can see on the screen, is Passport to Social Good, and we're hoping to have some really cool things going on where you can win prizes and things like that, but we're not able to say anything at this moment. But it could be released later. We're finalizing the details, but Greta threw the link in the chat. So even if you aren't coming and you have a really great project connected to something with global collaboration and the SDGs, please fill it out. Give us a 10-15 minute virtual session, and we really can be our global collaborators working together.
Yes, our idea is to host all those videos and also snapshots of what's happening at the live playground, and host everything on a website, so then we can share that with the global community. And we want to really help educators implement SDGs. We really believe in this, and that's what we are working for.
That's awesome. So that's 9 to what time is it on Wednesday? 9 to 11?
9 to 11. That's
on Wednesday.
Right. Playground A.
Okay, I haven't booked my flights home yet, so I'm going to make sure that I'm there. I also have to volunteer, so I think I'm volunteering after that. So thinking about my schedule in my head.
Yeah.
So please, everyone, reach out to Kayla and Greta if you're going to be there, or if you're going to be there, if you want to do something virtually. They're going to put the links in the chat for you to get in touch with them so that you can participate as well. And then we're doing the Global Collaborator Meet Up, and this is happening on Sunday. So some people may not be there yet, and I'll put the links in the chat. This is, again, the what's happened to Global Education Day that we used to do. Sorry, everybody is pinging me right now, and I don't know how to turn off notifications on my computer for some reason. So this is meant to be, so this is meant, yes, Julian, you should come into the StreamYard. Yes, that's who's pinging me. Yeah, I want you to come in and share about ISTE as well. So what's happening at Global Education Day is what we normally have done, we've normally had 3 hours, and it's down to 2, which I actually think is better. We're going to be doing 6 Ignite talks. And if you want to do an Ignite talk and you're a classroom teacher, let me know. Okay. And the Ignite talks are short presentations, and I can give you details about it. And it has to have something to do with global collaboration. Okay. And then we're going to have a discussion tables where people break out into topics that they want to network on. So coding around the world is one that Alefiya is probably going to host at the Global Collaborators Meet Up. And then at the end, there's going to be kind of a show and tell of this tool or this resource or this program, very quick showing of these resources to the audience, and we'll have a list of them that people can take away with them. But the idea here is to meet some friends, find some people that you can add to your professional learning network, because that's how these things, this is how Greta's work and Kayla's work has happened, is because they've built this wide network of teacher friends who they can call upon to do projects with and to Skype with their classrooms and that sort of thing. It takes work. You just can't go into a Facebook group and say, hey, I need to do a call with people. You can do that, but it's not the same as having a relationship with people where you're more invested in things. So that's the whole idea behind our event. And I'm going to ask Alefiya, you also are going to have kind of a special announcement, or you're going to talk about a specific thing at the meetup. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? And welcome, Julian. We're so happy to have you here.
I've been here. I just didn't know I was supposed to be live. So hi, everybody.
Hi, Julene. Just so everyone knows, Julene is my mad mother. So I'm very happy.
Mad sister sounds younger, so
Yeah, okay, fine. Mad sister, fine. But I want to quickly share a little tidbit about why global is so important to us, and why we're here, and why Lucy invited us to be a part of this, a part of the meetup, a part of the conversation. I actually had the benefit of living half of my life in a completely different country. I was born and brought up in the United States, but lived half of my life in India, which is where my family's originally from. So I got 2 very different systems of education, 2 very different cultures, languages, religion, food, everything you could think of. And that has really painted the canvas for who I am as a person. Our team today is a global team. We're a small but mighty team, but we have team members in India, in Ghana, and all over the United States. And so global collaboration is a part of what we do every single day. And it's actually something we really want to inspire more teachers and students to be a part of. So we've done a particular program in the past with some phenomenal women. It's called Mad About Mattering. Vicki Davis and Angela Myers and us came together several years ago to create sort of a global let's build apps across borders project. So students in 3 different countries, 5 states, all met together and built apps across borders, and it was a whole lot of fun. And we're transitioning it into a slightly different version of that we'll be announcing this year at the ISTE Global Collaborators Meet Up. So stay tuned, join us live if you're there. If not, we will be posting information and announcements about it soon. But one of my colleagues, Doreen Frimpong Ba is here in the chat. She's dialing in from Accra, Ghana.
She's wonderful.
and leads the global work that we do. And it's not just global work with connecting classrooms, but it's actually bringing students in to work on an intern at a global company. We have a global internship program where students from anywhere can work with us because we're online. This is what our office looks like, and that's what they can learn how to do as well. So global means a whole lot to us on so many different levels, and we're excited to be partners.
I love it. I absolutely love it. This is great. We have two other partners that are going to be there too. CILC, whose link I put in the chat, and Taking It Global. Some of you may have met Michael Furtick, who is from Taking It Global. He got the ISTE Make It Happen award last year, and he does all sorts of interesting work. CILC does video conferencing. They kind of are an aggregator of virtual experiences for schools. If you don't know their work, they're amazing as well. We're working on a yet to be revealed project with Michael, Actionable Innovations Global and Taking It Global. And we're hoping to kind of announce something at ISTE. So stay tuned for some exciting announcements about that. If you're not going to be at the Global Collaborator Meet Up, we will have the notes and things like that posted. My hope is, if I'm technically adept enough, to stream our Ignite talks through StreamYard, which is what we're using right now today. So hopefully there'll be some room for virtual participation as well. If not, we'll get the resources out to people as well. We're getting close to the end, and I want to wrap up with, if anybody has any questions, throw them in the chat. And I'm wondering, where can people find you, Greta, Alefiya, and Kayla, and Julene? Where can people find you at the conference if they're looking for you?
Well, I have to say one thing. First. Alefiya, I know for a second you're an introvert. And then Greta and Kayla, you are too great. I just love listening to you. I've been writing, and Aline Sada's here in the background, I know. So hi, Aline. I've been writing your course on global education for one of our grad courses today. So it's really interesting because a lot of the work I do is focused on SDGs too. I love that. So I will be in the global education space with Lucy, leading that session that we're doing. So we're excited to see you there. And I think I have a few more recruits and maybe a sponsor, Lucy. So we'll see. You have to call me.
Cool. Yeah, we love more partners. And Alefiya, you're going to be a
partner. Sorry, wrong word.
And Alefiya, where are you going to be found? Where can we find you besides our meetup?
So we've got a few different things happening, and I, of course, in true Alefiya fashion, I have no idea what they are. So I'm going to look them up and put them in the chat. But I know we're doing fun stuff with you on Sunday. We have our happy hour on we're doing a poster, CS Across the Universe. So that poster is happening. We'll put some links in the chat. And we are also doing with Sean Arnold from New York City DOE, and Victor Hicks from Coding with Culture, and Lori Guion from Wish We Posies. We are doing a The Revolution Will Be Programmed session.
That's so funny. I emailed Sean this morning. That's too funny.
I've heard that name before. What does TEAC do? Can you tell me quickly what? I was looking at their website and it looked interesting.
Yeah, so TEC. So TEQ TEC is they are a STEM program and product reseller. They have all kinds of products that they sell. Madlorn is one of them, so we're one of their partners. But they sell smart boards and farm thingies and robots and all the things. I'm sorry. But they sell all of the really engaging hands-on products, materials across the board. So if you take a look at their website, thank you for putting that in the chat. They are one of our partners and resellers. So they've got lots of fun stuff all over the region, and Madlorn's one of them.
And so if people have to get on the waiting list for your party, and then they have to pick up their badge for the party at the
TEC booth. Yep.
Awesome. Yep. Okay. Kayla and Greta, where can we find you during all of this madness?
Madness is a great word, isn't it? You go first, Greta.
Okay, I'll be hosting a digital, an in-person and digital UDL escape room. It's also a community leader project with Cami Kanekans, Maggie Pickett, and Amanda Nugent. And then I'll be presenting with Stephanie Howell on creating safe learning environments and also embracing a culture of feed forward. That's at the Multimedia Extravaganza Playground. And then we will be doing a virtual escape room. This will be a virtual experience for only virtual attendees on digital citizenship and AI, also with the community leaders team. And then, of course, the Global Collaboration Playground.
You're basically just going to have to wave at Greta as she's running from one thing to another. I don't know that we're going to have any. We've actually coordinated and said, like, let's come in a little early so we can actually have dinner together and not be so rushed. So I'm going to put actually my Twitter handle in the chat because I will also be doing lots of things like Greta has shared. I know there's a lot of stuff happening, but we're definitely doing the Global Collaboration Playground on Wednesday. I also have a couple of sessions. If you're interested in our work in juvenile justice, we have my colleague and I have a session called Behind the Bars. If you're interested in learning more about our juvenile justice program, I have an ed tech coaches session happening, and I'm also doing an ISTE Ignite talk. Yeah, thanks Greta for throwing that in the chat. So I'm really excited about that. If you don't know about ISTE Ignite, they're just quick lightning talks. They're 5 minutes each. So you can come for an hour and hear amazing things from lots of people. So I'll be also waving to you as we run from place to place. But please, for me, I know I can speak personally, like flag me down and say like, hi, I'd love to meet people, and that's how we connect. I'd love to meet Alefiya in person. We can talk about how we might can collaborate together in the future.
Oh, Lucy, you are on mute.
God, how many times have we said that in our lifetime at this point? Somebody has to solve that problem where I don't know. So there haven't been too many questions in the chat. Thank you everyone who's shared stuff though. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody coming today. This is a great group of people and I hope to meet you in person. Rhett had just mentioned that he would love for people to get involved with this program here. So if you didn't see that link in the chat, I'm putting it up here in case you want to do this. Before we wrap up, I'm going to put up my slides again. I don't have the list of upcoming events, but here's our Philly information. But I'll leave that up here for a second. So Actionable Innovations Conversations is a webinar series that we do. I should turn it into a podcast, but I haven't. Every couple weeks. And we have a bunch of ones that are coming up that are going to be really exciting. So June 9th, we have Adam Layler from Landmark College, which is where my kids went to. One kid just graduated from and one kid is still there. It is a school for kids that are neurodiverse learners in Putney, Vermont. It's a college. It's an amazing place. He's their director of research. And my daughter is going to join us too, because she's done some research for Adam and we're going to talk about that. So I'm really excited about that and really proud of Julia. So yay, Julia. And my son just finished his first year there too. So I'm really proud of Henry as well. So, and then June 16th, Don Buckley, who's one of our partners in this program, is going to be interviewing, what's his name? Andrew from Workshop Middle School in Brooklyn, which sounds like a super interesting independent school. And I can't wait to hear more about it. Don visited Andrew recently, and we're excited to have him as a guest. Then we have Jenny from Springhouse, which is a school in Virginia that's really innovative. They're one of hundreds model in innovations. I met somebody from Springhouse at the 100 conference a couple years ago, and I'm really excited to hear about her work. And then Julene, you're going to be interviewing a friend of yours. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? It's July.
Yeah, that might be Alefiya. Is that
No,
what you're talking about?
No, your friend
Oh,
in the
Manoj. Oh, I already
Yeah.
did. You're right. I didn't live Manoj. Manoj Gutama is a dear friend. And so are you, Alefiya. I forgot I already done you. I thought, oh, I'm doing Alefiya again. Manoj is in Nepal, and he has the K-12, or he has Schools for Sustainable Development Goals. So that's right up your alley. I've known him since he was 17, and he's now very successful, works with environmental issues, animal people in the community, and went to Oxford and was the executive director of Jane Goodall Institute in Nepal for 8 years. But he's doing amazing work still. And one of his goals, and one of the things I'll be talking about there, but we'll also be having an interview with him before long, is what he's doing with the Sustainable Development Goals in his schools. And it's like project-based, challenge-based learning. You can do this through his organization. A lot of schools already, or several schools already. You can do it virtually, or you can also have faculty, adults, go and stay in Nepal at his base camp and have experiential learning opportunities and working with the community and developing solutions for problems. And it's very customizable with things like, are you interested in the human-animal conflict with the tigers and the community members, or are you interested in health, or whatever you're interested in, you can customize.
Awesome. That's great. So we have a lot of conversations coming up, and they're all free. Our AI conference is not free, but these things are free. And the whole point is to bring people together so you can build these connections so that you can collaborate and do great things at your school. We're excited about all this. We want to thank Greta and Kayla and Alefiya for being here. You guys were awesome. I can't wait to see you all in person. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you soon. Thanks for coming.